Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Surharis, judges, presenters, and of course, the participant. Welcome to the 8th Seminar of Translation. And this year, our topic is Human vs. Machine Translation. Are we there yet? Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Brigitta. Today, I will be your moderator. And today's presenter are Rizky and Nadia, Khansa, Amira. Also vote with the two judges, Vanessa Alexis and Grace Ivan. Our first presenter is Rizky. He is an English letter student of Universitas Sanata Dharma, batch 2018. He is also a keyboardist for 1 year for Elmo, and he is an avid car enthusiast, which led him to be a member of AE92 Forum Indonesia and for AGE Forum Indonesia. On his free time, he also do freelancing as a photographer. And today, Ray will present his paper entitled Indonesian Subtitling of Specific Terms in Star Trek Enterprise TV Series Season 4, an equivalent analysis using back translation strategies. So without further ado, let's just welcome Ray in here. Ray, the floor is yours.
Thank you, moderator. I'd like to share my screen, if I may. Can you see my screen clearly?
Yes.
Is my voice
clear?
be heard?
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raihan Rizky Ramadana. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Harris. Today, I'd like to present my paper about Indonesian subtitling of specific terms in Star Trek Enterprise TV series Season 4, an equivalence analysis using back translation strategies. Here you see my table of content. The first would be introduction. The second would be the object of the study. Third would be the theories. Fourth, methodology. Fifth, finding and discussions. Last but not least, that would be the conclusions. English has been recognized as the international language by many nations around the world. English is very much used in every aspect of people's daily life, including the entertainment world, such as movies and TV series. Though many of the nations regarded English as international language, many perceived that the language itself might be some nation's second or third language. Thus, subtitling was needed for movies and TV series, or in this case, an online subscription called Netflix. But the first one, subtitling. Subtitling is a form of transferring spoken language into a written form and deliver information and messages to the audiences in limited space. Subtitling is also a type of translation, particularly in the audiovisual field, which includes dubbing, voiceover, and audio description. Subtitling needed for movies and TV series, in this case, an online streaming service, which is Netflix. Well, most of you might already know what Netflix is, but I'd like to describe what Netflix is. Netflix is a subscription-based streaming service that allows the members to watch TV shows and movies without commercials on an internet-connected device. In order to compensate the wide variety of languages, Netflix offers subtitles on their streaming service with up to 7 most relevant languages based on the members' location and language settings. Bahasa Indonesia is being one of the languages offered by Netflix. However, not all subtitles translations are perfectly delivered. There are still some less adequate translation or misunderstandings, such as cultural terms, inconsistencies, or even context and literal meaning. Today's object study would be Star Trek Enterprise, Season 4. It is a property of Paramount and UPN Network, created by Rick Berman and Brandon Braga. Star Trek Enterprise is a 6th TV series installment from the famous American science fiction franchise, Star Trek. The series itself is a prequel to the 1966 Star Trek, the original series, or previously known as just Star Trek. Being a science fiction genre, there are a lot of specific technical terms relating to science, space, engineering, or etc. However, these terms could not be translated properly into the TL or target language. Many of these translations were not delivering the terms what the original actors are saying. So the Star Trek Enterprise is set in the 22nd century from the year of 2151 up to 2161, 100 years prior the original Star Trek events, which occurred in 2265 up to 2269. So the theories. Specific terms can be defined into separate definitions. According to Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, a specific means special or particular, and term defined as a word or expression that has precise meaning in some uses or is peculiar to a science, art, profession, or subject. Thus, it can be inferred that specific terms is a special or particular words or expression that has precise meaning in some uses or is peculiar to a science, art, profession, or subject. Hence, the researcher wants to find the specific terms in this related topic. The theories, the first one is translation equivalence. According to Catford, translation equivalence is discovered by comparing the SL, or source language, and TL, the target language, text on a certain condition. In this case, researcher wants to compare between the SL specific terms of the actors and the TL, as the Indonesian subtitle on Star Trek Enterprise episodes from season 4. Subtitling is a form of spoken language into written form and deliver information and messages to the audience in a limited space. Subtitling is being used as to balance the content in the STNTT. Finuti and Ordudari in 2007 states subtitling involves the basic task of choosing the foreign text to be translated and developing a method to translate it. Next up is subtitling strategies proposed by Henrik Gottlieb. There are 10 of these subtitling strategies. The first one is expansion. Expansion is used when the SL dialogue needs a description in order to make the audiences have clear understanding, because of the audiences may not get the cultural specific aspect of the SL. For example, sir, I don't think we must call off the orders. Translated into, Pak, saya rasa kita harus membatalkan perintah itu. The word call off here means an expression to cancel some kind of instruction given by someone and is properly translated and expanded into membatalkan perintah itu. Next one is paraphrase. Paraphrase is used when an SL sentence cannot be rebuilt as the sentence in the TL. due to the difference syntactically. However, the audience still can understand the meaning of the sentence. For example, direct hit on enemy's hull with exclamation mark. Translated into kena pada lambung kapal musuh. The SL shown is using exclamation mark. However, the TL does not. There are apparent word order changes because from the SL into the TL, which English to Indonesian, would be very different in word order according to grammar. And next one is transfer. Transfer is a form of strategy translating the SL in complete form correctly into the TL. The translator does little to no change of the structure or changing a few. Moreover, the translator translates the words without explanation. The sentence previously mentioned contains neither deletion nor addition and maintains the same structure from SL to TL. For example, God, which is got bombarded for 30 minutes, translated into astaga kita baru saja dibombardir selama 30 menit. As you can see in the sentence, there are neither deletion nor addition. And the next one is imitation. Imitation is used for properly translating proper names, products, product names, and places. Imitation may give the TL and give the TL the same expression as the SL. For example, Ambassador Soval requested to see you, sir, which directly translates into Duta Besar Soval ingin bertemu dengan Anda, Pak. As you can see, there are no apparent changes, which still imitating the SL as the TL translates into the exact same sentence. The next one is transcription. Transcription is used when usual terms are present in the SL. Third languages or nonsense description is the best use of this strategy. Transcription may be used if there are unusual terms or nonsensical languages used, even in the source text. For example, do you hear that cling, clang, and kaboom sound, Trip? Translated into, apakah kau mendengar suara kling, clang, dan kaboom, Trip? It's imitated, but it is translated to a more suitable for the Indonesian tongue, such as for the cling clang, the C is with the C and K is translated into cling clang, which has different letters. And the next one is dislocation. Dislocation is adopted when the SL employs a specific effect, such as silly utterances that contains humorous tone, where translation of the effect is more important than the content present. Well, for example, that can't be it. I believe the High Command must have some counselors, yada yada yada, just to make our life a bit easier. Translated into itu tidak mungkin. Aku rasa komando tinggi pasti memiliki beberapa penasehat, bla bla bla, untuk membuat kita sedikit lebih mudah. The translation of yada 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 into blah 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 indicates that both sayings are minor details and have the same boring repetitive patterns and rhymes. Next one is condensation. Condensation is applied to perform a reduction of an unnecessary sentence without changing its significance. Condensation is best used when the TL subtitle is too long to display and creates efficiency by eliminating the possibilities of redundancies. In the TL, as you can see, for example, really completely couldn't agree more with Captain Archer's decisions. Translated into, saya sangat setuju dengan keputusan Captain Archer. As you can see here, the TL really completely is omitted to has the same meaning of couldn't agree more. So it's just hyperbole or adding more of words that imply the same meaning. So it has to be omitted it's basically the same with couldn't agree more, which directly translates to saya sangat setuju. And the next one is decimation. Decimation can be considered as an extreme form of condensation, mainly because decimation severely omit important element of a character speech, which may cause an impact on the translation or elements that are confusing the audience and some inappropriate words. Both have the same meaning, but several aspects have been omitted. For example, just get the hell out of here, Commander, translated into pergilah dari sini, Commander. So it's reducing the get the hell out of here to pergilah dari sini. Both of these sentences have the same meaning of get out of here. Next one is deletion. Deletion is a complete removal of textual elements of a text. Deletion refers to omitting parts of the text, such as repetition, question tags, or even filler words. For example, Captain, please, please, please save us, which translates into Kapten, tolong selamatkan kami, which is a complete deletion of one word of please, which basically have the same meaning from the SL to the TL. And the last one is resignation. Resignation is applied when the translator is unable to find the solution in translating the SL. Thus, the meaning is inevitably lost due to the different perceived nature of SL and TL for the audiences. For example, that's what she said, Archer, translated into begitulah Archer, which basically have the same meaning. Next one is methodology. The first one is qualitative method. Qualitative research focuses on pointing out in articles images or non-numeric symbols as proposed by George. Qualitative research is employed to examine the research data on specific terms in movie subtitle. Library method. Library method involves identifying and locating sources that provide factual information or personal expert opinion on a research question, necessary component of every other research method at some point, as proposed by George. This study contains relevant data from books and journals, theories, and research findings as well, in order to ensure the validity and reliability. Thus, the data gathered is supported by relevant theories that are present. The data of this research is primary because the data was gathered by the researcher. And the next section is findings and discussions. There are 47 specific terms found in the whole season, which is the season 4. There are 6 subtitling strategies identified. The first one is paraphrase. The next one is transfer, condensation, imitation, decimation, and expansion. Paraphrase. The source text is here. You need to let me come aboard. In the target text, kau harus membiarkanku naik pesawatmu. The term of let me come aboard into naik pesawatmu is basically the same as the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary states. Term aboard is someone is going on onto or within a vehicle, which means enter, which here in the source text, you need to let me come aboard. So it's implying that the person needs to come aboard of something, which in this case is a ship, a starship. And the next one is transfer. In the source text, your voice sounds familiar, Captain. Have we met? And the target text is suaramu familiar, Kolonel. Apakah kita pernah bertemu? The term captain, first one, is a commissioned officer in the Navy ranking above a commander and below a commodore. And the next one is the term colonel, or which has the same meaning as colonel in English, a commissioned officer in the Army, Air Force, or Marine Corps ranking above a lieutenant, colonel, or and below a brigadier general. As you can see right here, has the same structure, but however, the changing from captain to colonel may create a change of meaning, which is implied captain is someone who is commanding a ship in the navy, and colonel is someone who has a rank above lieutenant colonel and below a brigadier general in the Army, Air Force, or Marine. So this implied that in the target text, it became apparent that the organization which is called Starfleet is a militaristic organization, not a naval, space naval organization. And the next one is condensation. When push comes to shove, Commander Tucker usually ends up doing the right thing, which translates to the target text, saat terdesak, Letnan Kolonel Tucker biasanya melakukan yang tepat. The term is shortened in order to simplify the sentence. When push comes to shove has the same meaning as urge, which translates into terdesak. So it is shortened because it has the same meaning. It doesn't have to be using a saying or something like that. So it's very much simplified in the target text, which translates to saat terdesak. And sub also omitted its truly insignificance on the TL, because it has basically no direct translation on the TL. The next one is imitation. The face cannons. In the target text is bersenjatai meriam fase. According to Memory Alpha, phase cannon is a phase-modulated directed energy weapon, a type of particle weapon as a precursor to phaser of the 23rd and 24th century. The translator literally translated the term phase cannon into meriam fase, which have the same meaning. And if you can see, the structure is just reversed, but if you translate it one by one, it's basically has the same meaning. Cannons is meriam, phase is fase or fasa. Because of this, there are no official explanation regarding the term in Indonesian. Both sentence retains the same structure and translation. Decimation, you're gonna sign onto another ship, or you're gonna open up that little restaurant in Texas you told me about. Translated into, kau ikut pesawat lain atau akan membuka restoran kecil di Berkshire. The TT sentence is further simplified by omitting unnecessary words, so it becomes more efficient. The elements that are confusing the audience, such as sign on to another ship, itu ikut pesawat lain, which basically have the same meaning as going aboard another ship. And next one is omitting you told me about, assuming that in the TT, the person has already been taught before, so it has no significant use in the TT. The next one is expansion. The last one, to be honest, he was one of the designers of the NX class. Dia salah satu pendesain pesawat kelas NX. How it can be expansion, it has the word pesawat where the source text does not have any context whatsoever. The NX class starship is a starship built by Starfleet in the year of 2151, which is a ship, not a plane. In KBBI, the term plane is kapal terbang, which directly translates as flying ship. Adding the term pesawat is to make the audience understand that the association of plane is flying in space, and kapal or ship has little to no association to fly, which we can safely infer that the ship is already on the water. And the conclusion is Star Trek Enterprise Season 4 has 47 specific terms gathered. There are 6 subtitling strategies identified with um, 5 paraphrase translation strategies, 23 transfer uh, subtitling strategies, 3 condensation strategies, 16 imitations, 1 decimation strategies, and 1 expansion strategies. More research shall be conducted in order to find translation equivalence by using translation strategies. So we can safely infer that the research is not already been done. As the great Commander Spock in the Star Trek original series, live long and prosper. Thank you. That is all.
Hello, can you hear my voice, everybody? All right. Thank you, Ray, for the amazing presentation. And now, everybody, or the judges, I will call Grace in here as the judges.
Yes, okay.
Okay, to deliver your comment.
All right. Thank you, Brigitta. And hi, Ray. First, I would like to give comments for your presentation. It was a very beautiful presentation. I understand what you tried to deliver, and I really appreciate how you present yourself, how you dress. It was very, I think you raised the standard of presentation really well. And for your presentation, actually, I don't really know about Star Trek. I never watched the movie before, but because of your presentation, I kind of get the point of what is the movie about, like the spaceship and something like that, because of the presentation, because of how you put the pictures, how you put the, I think it's the cast, right? The actors of the movie, and the you finish the presentation with the, I think it's the statements from the main actors or something like that. And it was really great for me, the amateur in the spaceship movie things. It was great. And now I want to ask questions. I'm sorry to bring this up, but I see your first paper that Mr. Harris sent to the group. You write about the error analysis by using components theory. But why in the revised paper you change it to translation equivalence by using the back translation strategies? Is there any maybe specific reason why you do change it? Maybe you can answer.
Yes, that's a good question, actually. Thank you for asking that. It's mainly because in writing my thesis, I believe it doesn't really necessary to use components theories, as I just need to find the say the mistranslated one, and using back strategy, it's more efficient rather than components, and it's more simplified, and say it's inviting me to maybe to gain new words and sayings. Maybe that's all.
All right, I get the point, but some things that bothers me, maybe the error analysis, it suits what you want to talk, but you now talk about the strategies, because is it true that maybe it more like easy for you to understand and to deliver it, or is there anything else that made you change it?
That's basically because of my thesis my thesis is right in the title. That's the title. And I think I already used back translation. Why would I need to use opponents? Because it's basically the same. No, it's different, but it's leading to the same answer that I'm looking for, which is to find uh, the mistakes or errors in translation. I've spoken about it with my thesis advisor. She gave me a green light. So that's how I construct my paper for today.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. And second question. I was so curious about how you determines or choose the specific terms. You mentioned before that your specific terms theory is, oh no, not the theory, the definition is based on the Merriam-Webster. But how can you define from the whole season, like the season 4, the whole episodes of season 4? Or is it episode, or I don't know, something else? How you what is the standard or the main focus to choose that 47 specific terms?
Well, that's a quick question. I actually watched the whole season of the TV series. It consists of 24 episodes, and each episode has a 50-minute runtime. I just need to find what, say, I've mentioned before about specific terms is related to engineering, science, etc., etc. Because of that dialogue in the subtitle, and what the actors are saying, it's very apparent about something about a starship, say, malfunctioning, and about the weapon, or about a certain species or certain diseases. That's, I think, quite easy for me to judge, because I actually have watched most of the series from the day one up to the latest one I have watched, and I think I already gained knowledge in deciding which one goes to into the specific terms and which one does not.
All right. So out of my curiosity, like in one episode, like how many specific terms that you found, or you just like choose it randomly from the 24 episodes, and you we can do random sampling or something like that for your data?
I did not use random sampling. I actually watched the whole season by obtaining the script of the original run. So I watched the English first, and I tried to match it with the Indonesian subtitle. If there's specific terms, I wrote it down. And if that's just some regular conversation, I skipped it, because I just need to find the specific terms about science, engineering, and mechanical, or maybe in what I've said before. That's, say, it's not easy, but it's doable.
Okay, all right, that's good. And my last question is, you mentioned about the translation equivalence, and we know that there is a specific theory about translation equivalence, like the pragmatical equivalence and something like that. Why you don't elaborate it more in your paper and in your presentation?
That's a good question, actually. I think before this seminar was held, I think I was told it was to use just one specific case or research questions to my thesis. So I just input that one and use it the another one for my thesis. Maybe that's what I've been doing.
All right. So in your thesis, you also talk about the equivalence, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's all. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Grace, for the comment. Now we're moving on to the second judges. Vanessa.
Okay. Hello, Ray. Your presentation was really good, and I can hear you loud and clear. And I think my comments will be a lot similar to Grace's. That, oh my God, I don't know. I mean, you present yourself very clean and neat, and then very dashing, and it's really cool. Also, the background. I think the background is Star Trek, right? Anyway, I've watched Star Trek movies before.
That's from the Next Generation in 1987.
I see. I mean, I've watched a lot of Star Treks because there are a lot of these movies, but I haven't watched the one that you present on your presentation. So I think it's a little bit new for me. And then I was going to comment about your paper. I haven't watched the new. I haven't read the new one because I just arrived. I was outside before, so I won't comment about your paper that much. But I think that's all for my comments about your presentation today. I will ask you 2 questions only, because I actually want to ask you about the translation equivalence, but Grace already asked you about it. So, wait, I'm sorry. Okay, I think the transcriptions and the dislocation are a little bit similar. How do you differentiate it? You know, the wordings, like yada yada, and then cling clang. I mean, it's a little bit similar, right?
Yes, it's a little similar, but I think the yada yada is more like very underestimating. Say it's quite humorous to say you are saying to some of your friends by saying wah itu banyak ngomong blah 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 tapi gitulah. And the difference between that and the clink clank is it's like you're asking your friends is like, did you hear that noise, that boom with whatsoever sound? Maybe that's probably the difference. And another contribution why I almost got it mixed up is because I was a bit tired to wrote the paper, so that's maybe one of the reasons. 2 actually.
Okay, understood. And then I'm not sure if Grace already asked you about this, because I didn't quite catch what she asked you. But why do you choose this specific episode of Star Trek as your research object?
Oh, that's a great question, because I say the series itself is an underdog rather than to say the more famous Star Trek, the Next Generation, Star Trek Discovery, or the movies, or the Deep Space Nine, Voyager. This is more or less an underdog. I actually watched this particular season probably a year ago in 6th semester for the class of Intro to Research. I actually proposed the same title to Mr. Harris, and I've watched the episode prior in the last episode, the 24th episode. These are the voyages back in the 5th semester that actually was for my paper. The intro to the 3 ones that you have, the translation, linguistic, and literature. I wrote one of those, and because I watched one of the episodes stating this, what I've been talking about, saying it should be captain, not colonel. It's because of that. That's why I chose specifically. This has some potential to be talked about because of that, say inconsistencies, mistakes, or mistranslation, some sort of like that.
Okay, so your focus was is about the what did you say earlier? engineering and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, understood. I think that's all for my comments and questions. Thank you, Ray. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khansa, for your comment. I would like once again say thank you for the judges for the comment. Now for the participant who want to give Ray a questions, you can type it on a check box or you can raise your hand. All right, maybe before while we are waiting for the participant giving you a question, I would like to propose a question to you, Ray. There are many, TV series, many type. I don't want to say type, but any other version of Star Trek series. Why did you choose this specific series?
That's a good question. I've already answered it before. It's more like an underdog series from the other because many fans hated it because it's a prequel. It's supposed to be heading into the future because in the last three series of Star Trek is heading to the future with 2350s, 60s, 70s, and it should be very well in the 25th century to form insanity. But the Star Trek franchise decided let's do a prequel because we don't know what it was like before Captain Kirk in the Star Trek original series. And I've watched many of those seasons, and in Netflix I hardly see any translation mistakes or inconsistencies. But this specific series, especially in season 4, because as you see, there are 47 specific terms that can be talked about in a paper for this course of 24 episodes. So yeah, maybe that's all my reason.
Okay. Besides from the interesting reason, on the language side, is there any differences that make it pop out? Any what makes it different? Because we know language it's keep evolving, right? So maybe the language that we use now is different in the past. Is there any certain specific term that is very different, even though they have the same meaning that you find? Because I notice maybe you watch all of them, so maybe you could tell me more about it.
Yes, but I am a bit confused about the language aspect, and then it's referring to the airtime of the TV series or the century that took place in.
The airtime of the TV series, because there is the series that is released on 1974, I guess. The cast are who played Charles from the X-Men, if I'm not mistaken, the bald one.
Oh
yeah.
yes, Captain
Yeah, so
Picard, yes.
yeah, so I think there would be a different in language. So that's what I meant. The release date.
I can safely say that from the beginning to up to that point in Star Trek Enterprise, the languages of Star Trek has been very formal and basic. It's just like interacting with your superior or your lecturer. It's very straightforward and say it's basic. It's basic English. It's formal, and this Star Trek Enterprise is very much almost an everyday languages with a more relaxed saying and terms and on how they say it, especially during dialogues. It's very much like what we do on our daily basis. So yeah, that's a difference and evolution to the series.
Thank you for your answer. Now we have questions from Eugenia Sakar. What do you think is the most suitable strategy to be used in the subtitle of the movie?
That's a great question because I saw that there's a lot of transfer subtitling strategies that is very much taking what the actors were saying into a complete Bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian form. That's very suitable because the audiences need to, but besides that, the audience needs to understand the meaning. But because there are no official explanation for the engineering specific terms or science specific terms, it's the best to suit because what the actors basically saying, it's going to be translated. Maybe does that answer your question?
Okay, Sakar. Is that answer your question? Maybe you can type it too. Yes. All right. Thank you. Now we're moving on to Miliana. She has questions. The first one is, what is the difference between deletion and condensation? And then the second question is about the datum that you consider it as a condensation. Can it also be paraphrased?
Oh yes, thank you for the question. The first one is, what is the difference between deletion and condensation? Say condensation is more like a compressed form of the TT because it does not delete, or it's just limiting what the actors were saying by say changing few words to make it more compact rather than deletion. Deletion is very much deleting or omitting something from the dialogue in order to make the from the SL to the TL or TT is very efficient. So I think that's the difference. And the second question is about the datum you considered as condensation. Can it also be paraphrase? Perhaps, but not really, because I've already answered that before. I think I almost got it mixed up because I was a bit tired in writing the paper, and perhaps it's one of my mistakes, but there are fine line between that, and I think it's already explained before. Does that answer your question?
Okay, Miliana answered again. She said, okay, so if there is an inappropriate word in the actor's utterance, what strategy should we apply then? Deletion, or condensation?
That's an interesting question. It's very much up to the translators itself, what they want to give to the audience with, say it's to change the words or completely delete with a simplified, straightforward meaning. Say while saying swear words, they could choose instead, if it's too vulgar, say you can turn it down to just basically delete it by saying it straightforward with just without the swear words. But if it's less vulgar, personally I would just pick another word, say it's a more appropriate one. Does that answer your question?
Okay, fully understandable. Thank you, Ray. Now we have a question from Ascentino. Is there any related studies that help you in eliminating the term about space and galaxy kind of thing?
I believe I haven't seen any of the related studies about this specific topic because I've searched it. I've searched those, and I came up with little to no answers. So I turned to the memory alpha I've mentioned before. It's basically a shrine for every Star Trek fans that needs some explanations about the terms related in the movies or the series, so it can make us more more knowledgeable and understand more. Does that answer the question?
Okay, I think it's pretty clear for Aventino. Now we will read the question from Nanda. It will be very long, but okay. So, hello Ray. That is a fantastic topic that you brought up. I remember watching The Big Bang Theory, and Sheldon says something familiar: live long and prosper at the time. It is just fascinating to see that you really did a good job, and that's top notch. My question is, how would you translate a degree of importance using subtitling strategy? Um, is there any way to do that? So, for example, English possesses several words to express, let's say, mad, insane, ballistic, and Indonesian does have, but not as many as that, in his opinion. So, how would you transfer the degree of importance into a target text which may not have many expression to stand in for? Stay as it is or add more words to create the degree, or perhaps neither of them?
Oh, thanks for the questions and comments, obviously. I think you've already mentioned it in your questions. Let's say, I quote you, let's say mad, insane, ballistic, and Indonesian does have, but not as many as that. And say, translating it into a much closer meaning to those words because you say so. Because you say so, and I believe there are many of those words. And if it's not really necessary, and say we do not have the correct answer to the English to Indonesian version, we could not. We just straight up say what as is. But if we can find the words, then we could use one of them that is much closer to the what the original intention is. Say mad, say sangat marah, or talap, very much like that. Does that answer the question? Hello.
Okay, that's understandable. Thank you from Nanda. And thank you, participant who already gave questions. Is there any other who want to give another questions? Okay, I think that's enough from the participant. Thank you again, Ray, for giving such an amazing presentation, and good luck for your thesis. Thank you. All right, now for the second presenter. She is Nadia Khansa Amira. Born and raised in Purwokerto, she is currently an active student of Universitas Sanata Dharma, batch 2018. She was a part of an extra English conversation project batch 3, in which she taught conversational English to the 8th grade student of Canisius Waters Junior High School. In her spare time, she is sometimes freelancing as translator and copywriter. or write poems, which she has posted in her blog and sent it to integrity or several competitions. She usually gains her inspiration through binge watching videos, dramas, movies, and eventually this lead to her research, which will be presented tonight. And it is entitled Trilingual Video Titles Found in Claire Lufcat YouTube channel, a study of translation shift. All right. Hello, Nadia. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. So without further ado, let's just welcome Nadia. The floor is yours.
Okay, is it already clear? I mean, the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, I will start. So good evening, everyone. Tonight I will discuss about my research entitled Trilingual Video Titles Found in Claire Lufcat YouTube channel, the study of translation shift. I hope you guys enjoy. So let's begin with the introduction. So we begin with the background of the study. So to grow a global audience, YouTube enables a feature called translated title and description. So this feature is really useful for both creators and also the viewers. For creators, because when they upload a video, their video will be indexed in the search results so that the viewers can watch it from all over the world. So to utilize this feature, creators can use available machine translator, or they can maybe hire translator, or maybe they can translate by themselves. So whenever translating process occurs, because change becomes inevitable because of the gap between source language and target language. So this is what Catford defines as translation shift. Moving on to to the object of the study. So for this research, I take only video titles from a South Korean content creator named Claire Lufcat. So brief information about her. So she is, of course, South Korean. She posts her daily life with 10 cats. So the content is about cats, her and her cats, as you can see in the picture there. So all of her videos are, well, of course, are spoken in Korean, entitled in Korean, and also hard sub in Korean. But she also provides translation in 3 languages, Japanese, English, and Indonesian. So but for this research, I only take Korean, English, and Indonesian, in which Korean titles will be the source text for all, and then not for all, but okay. And the English titles will be the target text for Korean titles, also source text for Indonesian titles, and Indonesian titles becomes the final target text. So for this research, I take the titles that are uploaded from May 22, 2020 until January 30, 2021. So I choose this object because, well, these 3 languages, of course, have a lot of differences in culture, lifestyle, belief, and of course their language system. And not only that, well, as well as the channel itself, because she is one of creators that provide translation to various languages. That's what I choose this one. Moving on to the objective. So this research is aimed to identify the translation shift occurred in selected video titles of Little Cat in Korean, English, and Indonesian. So this research will also expected to broaden the horizon of translation research, particularly in trilingual translation. Next, it's about the theory. So I use two translation theories. The first one is from Catford. So Catford defines translation shift as departures from formal correspondence in the process of going from SL to TL. He classified it into two major types, level shift and category shift, and then he categories shift into four: structure shift, class shift, unit rank shift, and then intra-system shift. But somehow Catford's classification draws criticism from other researchers because it is said to be too linguistic, as cultures and contexts are often incorporated in the translating process itself. Therefore, I add one more model of translation shift from Al-Zubi and Al-Hasnawi. So they classify it into two levels. The first one is micro level analysis and then macro level analysis. So for micro level analysis, from what I read, so it consists of Catford's category shift, the fourth shift, and with additional syntactic shift. And meanwhile, for macro level analysis, it consists of semantic, textual, pragmatic, rhetoric, and stylistic shift. Next is the methodology. So of course, this research is qualitative research because the data are all in words, non-numeric. And I use library and explicatory research methods. Library because I need credible sources to provide careful analysis, and also explicatory because of course I need careful examination to understand more about my research. So the data are of course primary data from ClearCat channel. So to get the data, first off, I went to ClearCat channel, and then I switched the language into Korean, and then I listed the titles as well as the date, the uploading date, in an organized table, and then I repeated the same process for English and Indonesian. So I did this all in laptop for easier movement. And also I watched the videos as well to understand the context more. And finally, I shortlisted it because the population is about 100 more. I don't count the exact number, but I managed to collect 50. And I shortlisted it into 30 for future thesis. And for this research seminar, I only use 7. But okay, so all this title are chosen randomly. Therefore, it's haphazard sampling because it is based on convenience. Next is results and discussion. So before I move on to result and discussion, so somehow the figures and the tables that I will present later somehow blurry. Please, I apologize, but you can always refer to my original paper. It's all there. I took them all from there for clearer picture. So let's start. Okay, so here So here is the result. So for Korean to English, I got level, structure, class, and semantic shift. So for level shift, I got 3, and then structure I got 2, class I only got 1, and semantic I got 3. And for English to Indonesian, I got level shift, structure, class, unit rank, intra system, syntactic, and semantic shift. For level shift, I got only 1, and then structure I got 4, class I got 2, unit rank, intra system, syntactic, and semantic shift. Each of them I only got 1. So in total, there are 20 shifts that can be found in the data. So in total, for level shift, it occupies 20%, while structure shift it's 30%, class shift it's 15%, unit rank, intra-system, and syntactic, each of them is 5%, and then the last is semantic, it occupies 20% of the total data. So let's begin with level shift. So this is what I got. So level shift is change from grammatical to lexis and vice versa. So for this one, I got it in the second, third, and fourth datum. I use second datum. So it is from Korean to English. Here we have 루루는 정말 신기한 고양이에요. So it ends in 에요. And the translation is Ruru is really interesting. So here, whenever it ends in yeo or eo, it is an affirmative form. It is an affirmative sentence, declarative sentence. Therefore, it roughly equals to, in English, it's roughly equals to the verb to be. Therefore, the translator translates it into lexis is. Therefore, it's a level shift. Next is about structure shift. So structure shift, you can find it in the first, second, fifth, and sixth datum. So for the example, I show you the sixth datum. So for structure shift, it occurs both in Korean to English and English to Indonesian. So the first one is from Korean to English. It's in the sentence. So we have 산에서 새로운 고양이를 만났어요. So here the structure is preposition, object, and then verb. And well, meanwhile for the English title, it is I met a new cat in a mountain, with structure like this: subject, verb, object, and preposition. Here you can see that there is a reversion of the structure in preposition here in the front, and then it becomes in the end, and then here you have the verb in the end becomes in the middle. And you also notice that there is no subject here in the Korean title. Why? Because Korean, among other languages, among other Asian languages as well, is a high context language, meaning that it relies more in the context, shared assumption, and nonverbal signs. It's, well, therefore, subject is understood for the both speaker and the receiver. So it's like our language, right? You say "Dah makan belum?" or "Dah mandi belum?" You don't put kamu there because, well, to the speaker and the listener understand that, because it is meant for the listener. Next is on English to Indonesian. So I find it in the noun phrase. Here we have new cat becomes kucing baru. So here we have a new cat that follows pre-modifier head formula and kucing baru with head and post-modifier formula. So there's a reversion in the modifier. So the first one is in the front, and the Indonesian one is on the back. So therefore, it's structure shifts, and since it's the change of the structure in sentences or phrases. And also you can notice that somehow the English one is longer. You have in here, but you don't see something like that in here because we, I mean, our language, Indonesian, does not need articles. Usually you find yang here, but the translator does not use. Moving on to the class shift. So class shift is the change in part of speech. For this one, you can find it in the first and second datum. I show you the first datum. So it occurs both in Korean to English and from English to Indonesian. So here we have jaku, means repeatedly or frequently or over and over again. So it is an adverb, but when it is translated in English, it somehow becomes the verb keeps. But when it is translated into Indonesian, it becomes terus menerus, which is an adverb. Therefore, there is a change from adverb to verb, and then back again to adverb. Next is unit rank shift. So for the unit rank, I only got one. It's on the fourth datum. It occurs from TTE to TTI, English to Indonesian. So here we have my cat. It's a phrase. When it is translated Indonesian, my, the pronoun my becomes suffix ku, and therefore making it a word instead of phrase, kucingku. Therefore, the unit rank shift here happens from phrase to word. So yeah. Moving on to intra-system shift. So for this one, there's only one on the third datum from English to Indonesian. So here we have, oh, I forgot to put it, I apologize. So here we have the auxiliary verb is in here. It's Claire, and it becomes ini mama Claire. There's no the is not translated. It's disappeared. But you can say you can translate is into adalah or merupakan. So maybe the translation result will be like this: ini adalah Mama Claire or ini merupakan Mama Claire. But it sounds too redundant, or yeah, it's too redundant. Therefore, the translator does not translate is. Therefore, it is an interesting shift because it is nearly corresponding. Next is syntactic shift. So syntactic shift only occurs in just one on the fifth datum from English to Indonesian. So here we have the household Tommy Ruru becomes si kucing Ruru yang butuh. So here there's substitution from household to kucing. So the modifier change from household to kucing. And then there's an addition in the translation of si and yang. Si is See, well, it's not an article, but it's somehow like emphasizing of calling someone like that. And then here we have yang, which usually what is it? Indonesian translator use yang for anything that what is it? That is, which is, like that. And then there's the deletion of the. We don't use article in Indonesian. Last is semantic shift. You can find it on the third, fourth, and fifth datum. So I give you an example in the third datum. Here, this occurs in both from Korean to English, also English to Indonesian. Here we have 안녕하세요, hi, and apa kabar. So all of these three are greetings, of course, but somehow there's differences. There's concept differences in here. So 안녕하세요 is, well, it's formal but not too formal, saying that it's like a standard way to greet someone. Meanwhile, hi is informal, therefore the difference is in the formality. But for apa kabar, well, it's all a greeting, but this like asking for the condition, not like what is it, hi or 안녕하세요. So for Indonesian translation, it can be using hello or hi, just like it's similar to English, but the translator chooses with apa kabar, goes with apa kabar, which in English it equals to how are you, asking the condition. Therefore, the difference is in the concept. So for the conclusion, it can be concluded that the author shift are level, class, unit rank, structure, intra-system, syntactic, and semantic shift, in which the most acute one is structure shift, and the least acute ones are unit rank, intra-system, and syntactic shift. And also I only use 7 titles. The result seems more than the titles itself, meaning that shift always occurs even more than one in just simple text. And this also proves that these languages have various distinction in ideas, cultures, and systems. But I realized that this research use only just simple text, and the findings may not capture the complexity. Therefore, for future research, I suggest that to use different kind of texts that have more complexity, particularly in Korean, English, and Indonesian. And also, I also recommend that that a comparison for the same object, but comparing between the human translation that you see before with the result of machine translator, like what is it, Google Translate, or maybe Bapako that I recommend that. So yeah, that's all for me. I apologize if there's any intentional or unintentional mistakes. Thank you, Amira.
Thank you, Nadia. That was a lovely presentation. And now I would like to invite the first judges, Grace. Okay, you may deliver your comment.
All right, thank you, Brigitta, and hi, Nadia. First, I want to say that it was a great presentation. Like just like what Pak Hari said, the cats are cute, and we can see what is it you're talking about? Mostly about it's like the daily life of the cats, like with the owners, and how you presented the points from your presentation. It makes the audience, the participants, get what you want to deliver. And now for the also I really love how you in the end you suggest for yourself, like what should you talk about in your thesis and how you want to change the object, right, of your research. And may I ask, what is it that if you can choose, what object do you want to analyze?
Oh, I think I can for future research with same object, so not different. I'm not saying that I want to change the object.
Maybe use a longer text or something else, or only the focus of the research that you want to change?
Well, I actually don't want to change the my research, but I think you may misheard it, because I think I said same object but with different kind of topic, or and also for the first one is a whole different topic but with different kind of text.
Okay, all right. So I see that you in this research focus only on the translation shifts, right? But what about why you don't also focus on the acceptability or the readability of the translation? Why only the translation shift?
Well, for like readability or acceptability, I think I just want to easier access to my research, because for such kind of things I need to to use questionnaire. I need to ask people for that, because well it might train because I need maybe respondents to do that. I need people to do that, because I prefer to do my research only like for myself, not like you get the point, right?
All right, yeah, so it's simpler, right? And it's easier.
It's easier.
Okay, I understand that. And I see from your presentation that Korean language has different like grammatical order and focus only like not focus only, but focus more on the context, right? While English, we have the subject and different grammatical order, and how you maintain the consistency, like when you see the translation and you analyze the translation shifts, they have different grammatical order, but how you is it based on what your skills in Korean language to identify the translation shift, or is there any, besides the theories of the translation shifts, how you understand and you sure about that this is this type of translation shift? Because from the grammatical order is already different, right? Like in the Korean language, the subjects, it doesn't say he or she or they, but in English, it's already translated as I, right, in your data. But I'm asking, like, I'm curious how you maintain the consistency to reach the conclusion that this is this type of translation shift in this category.
Okay, so for that one, of course, I need to see the videos for in this context. to understand the context of the titles, because for that's why I understand the the context of the titles. I know what is it, like, for example, like in one of my datum, it's I know subject, then it becomes I, because I watched the video. It tells Claire herself she climbs a mountain and meet some cats there. So the key is that I have to watch the videos to understand the context. That's why I understand the what kind of ship is this, what kind of ship is that.
All right. Okay, so I understand. I get the point. And my last question is, I was curious, how long have you been learning Korean, and the level of your skills now about Korean, does it, how much it affects how you develop this research, and does it overcome the obstacles? The more you know about Korean language, the more you know the grammatical in Korean language, how much it affects your research now, because it does not only translate to English, but you have choose to translate to Indonesian too, right? So is it really affect the more you understand, or maybe you just know the basic of Korean and you can research this?
Well, for how long I've been learning this? Well, I started learning this since high school, but I have been into K-pop since elementary school. I mean, I think the last years of my elementary school, but I indulge myself to the language itself since high school. But I think my Korean skill is it's so basic. I only know the basics, but for this research, because sometimes there's some sentences, some terms that I don't understand, I always consult this to Google. There are a lot of good references for that, and also YouTube. There are a lot of channels that helps me in in enriching my knowledge about Korean language itself.
Okay, so maybe that's all, and thank you for the great presentation, Nadia.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. And now I would like to call our second judges, Vanessa.
Thank you, Brigitta.
All right.
Hello, Nadia. Your presentation is very great, and I love the PowerPoint. There were a lot of cats, and I really love cats. And then I've watched Claire love cats too on YouTube. Their cats are very cute. So I want to comment a little bit about your paper. It doesn't really matter. Actually, I just found several typos, but it doesn't really matter because I can still understand the context. And then I can see from your datums, there are several translations that don't describe the type of the translation, like whether it's literally, freely, word to word, etc. And then I saw the TL, like from your TTIs, it's a little bit different from the source language. Why don't you elaborate a little the type of this translation?
Oh, in which datum?
Wait, I kind of forgot.
Is it the last?
I think so. Like it missed. There are several missing parts from the translated text.
Do you mean that I did not mention I did not discuss the last datum in the presentation? Is that what you mean?
like, sorry, I kind of forgot which one. I saw it from your presentation also, like when you explain the translation, when it's supposed to have my, but in Indonesian it didn't say kepemilikannya.
What is it? The my cat into cooking like that?
Yeah, something like that. It's different, right? Like the type of the translation, it's not mentioned. So why don't you put the type of the translation?
The type of translation. What do you mean by type of translation? Is it like translation strategies or methods?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the method, the strategy.
For that, it's actually for my future thesis. So for my future thesis, I will discuss not only just translation shift, but also translation strategies. So that's why I did not mention, because it's only just translation shift.
Okay, I see. Okay, so I will ask you 2 more questions. The first one is, why do you choose Claire Love Cats as your object? There are several Korean YouTubers that show their cats, right? Why do you choose this one?
This is my personal opinion. It's because, well, I have been subscribed to her channel since probably to 2018. So it's been 3 years now. And also she is one of say cat YouTuber that provides, what is it, translation more than just English. So you can see that we have Japanese and Indonesian. Well, compared to her previous channel, maybe Cream Heroes, she used to have like a lot, right? Like Spanish and such, right? But at least now she has English, Indonesian, and Japanese translation. So that's why I choose that.
Okay, understood. And then the second question is, do you find any obstacles while doing this research? Like, you have to translate not only once, right, but twice, from Korean to English and then English to Indonesian, and you have to fully understand the Korean first. Do you find any obstacles?
Of course, there's obstacles. But the hardest one, I think, is to find for future thesis is to find related studies. It's really hard to find it, because I think there is no one that discuss my object and also my topic as well. For topic in what is it, trilingual translation from Korean English to Indonesian, and and also what is it, the references, it's quite hard to find the almost similar one, because either it is locked or open, but somehow Sci-Hub doesn't help me at all. And if I have to log that in, it's just a scam that you have to subscribe to that journal site like that.
I see. Okay. Well, I think that's all for my comments and questions. Thank you so much, Nadia. Good luck for your thesis.
Thank you. Good luck for you too.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. And now for the participant, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or drop your comments on the chat box. I think we will wait for 3 minutes for the participant preparing their answer. If there is no one giving you any questions, maybe we could give back to Sir Harris. Is that all right for you, Nadia?
All right.